Movies like Camp Rock and Another Cinderella Story make you feel like dreams can come true, you only need to follow them. I remember feeling motivated and ambitious after watching the Camp Rock sequence, maybe even feeling like I can be anything I want to be in life. How these movies can spark a strong feeling of motivation and ambition in the moment, they might not actually make you more productive in the long run, and could even be damaging for your career expectations once you've grown up. The magical world that animations like Alice in Wonderland can take you to is not the reason why children develop unrealistic expectations. Alice in Wonderland is obviously an unrealistic fantasy world. It is the fictional everyday life of teenagers presented as realistic that is the problem. A song from Another Cinderella Story literally goes, not so subtle. Such movies and TV leave children with the thought that if you follow your dreams, you can become anything. The truth is that becoming an incredibly successful singer, for example, which is a common career presented in Disney movies, is not as straightforward as it's presented to be. These movies have millions of viewers, with a big part of them being under the age of 10. Hannah Montana peaked at 6.2 million viewers. Even if the likelihood of someone becoming a crazily famous singer is 1 in 100,000, this leaves millions or at least hundreds of thousands of children disappointed in their expectations, thinking that they did not work hard enough and it's their fault for not following their dreams hard enough. While in reality, it would not be feasible for that many people to achieve this goal. The movies do not show the obstacles and hardships one must face to overcome and succeed in a particular career. The music industry is incredibly competitive and to some extent corrupt. Music production is oversaturated. Succeeding as a singer requires more than luck or talent. It requires loads of effort and constant hard work. We only learn about these challenges in our late teen or early adult years, and it can be heartbreaking to realize your biggest dreams are not so within reach as you might have thought your whole life. The argument against these false expectations being the media's fault is that teenagers who are simple-minded and naive about the reality around them are going to be the most susceptible to falling into the trap that the media have created. But these expectations are developed early, even before children start going through puberty. Children's minds are more vulnerable before they are able to compare what's presented in a movie to their own observations and experiences in the real world. Some children that watch these movies are so young that they haven't even started school. How are 7-year-olds supposed to have enough common sense and understanding to pull away and define where the line is drawn? Is it even their responsibility? The author of this article said children soak up everything around them like a sponge, which is exactly what we're talking about here. They often do not have much control over what they're exposed to and simply absorb everything shown to them or whatever's on their favorite TV channel. I believe Cartoo Network is an amazing example of how children's TV can be creative and entertaining without distorting our perception of real life in the process. Samurai Jack and the Powerpuff Girls took us to unique worlds without touching on potentially controversial or inappropriate for children ideas like beauty standards and fame. I guess one of the main differences between Hannah Montana and Samurai Jack is that one of them is a cartoon. This might be part of the reason why it was easier for the non-animated Disney shows to affect real-life concepts. Their setting is normally real-life situations like a high school or a hotel. But if we look at Disney animations, there are some hidden issues with them too. For example, the original Disney princesses were unrealistic in so many ways. First, the princesses need to have a prince by their side to be able to achieve their dreams. Second, beauty standards. For example, the noses of the princesses are small and up-pointed, while villains have large, bulky noses. This subconsciously makes us think of noses that are not small as ugly. And 3, what clothes are considered feminine? All princesses wear long dresses, with the exception of Jasmine, who is the first princess to wear pants instead. To be fair here, I have to say that Disney isn't fully responsible for these stories, as the princesses fit the expectations of women at the time when the movies were created. Snow White, for example, resembles the traditional femininity in the 1930s American culture. She wears a long dress with a white collar and puffy sleeves and has a red bow in her hair. She stays at home taking care of the household chores while the dwarfs are away working in the mine. So Disney did not actually create these concepts, they just made movies about them. but it is not clear to young children watching them today that the movies are old-fashioned and inaccurate. Another misconception created by TV shows is what life at high school or uni is like. Looking at You, Elite, and Euphoria. Even though these two series are hopefully not watched by children under 10, many teenagers who watch them are still not old enough to have started high school or uni, and again have no basis for comparison with real life experiences. This creates an unrealistic hype and expectations of what they will be experiencing later on in their lives. And when these expectations are not met, they might think it's their fault that their life is nothing like what they've seen on TV. Lots of drama, lots of parties, drugs, alcohol, and loads of sex. Of course, the older you are, the less vulnerable you would be to media influence, and really young children remain the most susceptible to the harmful effects of TV. However, even if you do not agree with certain trends and ideas that you see on TV, no matter how old you are, they can still get under your skin and stay with you subconsciously, especially if you see them all around you, and may create or contribute to low self-esteem. This video was based on my opinion and experience, and I'm curious to find out if you too feel affected by some of the children's TV shows you've seen. Let me know in the comments below.